a Cyberpunk 2077 beginner's guide. As the title suggests, we're doing a 2.12, so it's the 2.0 update post that, so 1.6 and prior, any of that info is pretty much irrelevant to this. So basically, I decided to make this because I've been trying to get my friends into the game, and it's kind of overwhelming for people if they haven't really touched the game at all. So it's a lot to take in at first. So I'm just going to go over some basic details. So just bear with me, I guess. Obviously, I'm mid playthrough, so I'm just going to go through things as you'll experience them in the game. So when you do get the game and start playing it, you'll be prompted with difficulty selection, and then you'll be given a choice of life paths. There's 3 life paths. There's Street Kid, Nomad, and Corpo. Ultimately, those don't really matter too much. Each one will offer you different dialogue options throughout the entire game, right? Including Phantom Liberty. You'll be able to choose whatever witty comeback or line that is relevant to your life path. The only other difference it makes, and it's really not substantial, is each of those 3 life paths comes with a different quest attached to it. So you get a unique quest correspondent to your life path. So if you choose Nomad, which I chose in this, you can get a free car. You pretty much just go through, get your car, whatever. I'm not going to go in depth. You guys can play it, figure it out. I've never played a Corpo playthrough, but to my knowledge, there's a lot of stuff that happens at the start of the game with that storyline, and it kind of just reaches a conclusion when you start activating that quest. You pretty much find your dead coworkers. I think that's the gist of it. And then when you play Street Kid, you deal with a fixer, a local fixer, which fixers are the people who give you gigs. They're kind of like the conduits between finding work and making sure the job is thorough and you have all the details, blah, blah, blah. Next up, there are different types of quests. So when you come to your HUD, you'll see this massive map with all these little icons all over the place. Multiple different types. So these here are Cyber Psychos. You'll get those through Regina, who is technically a fixer. Then you have these, which are gigs, which you get the gigs through different fixers. Each district has a different fixer. So there will be at least 5 to 10 gigs per fixer. So each district is going to have as many missions as they are. They're pretty much glorified missions. You have these ones as well, which are different types of quests. They're not necessarily through fixers. They could be story related, or just side missions, essentially. That's the best way to look at it. I mean, it's all side content, but these can either drive the main story, these yellow ones, or just be completely random stuff on the side. But yeah, so essentially different types of gigs through fixers. Then there's the story missions, which are these, and then there's side missions, which are also displayed through these. So that's what those are. These assault in progresses, they're pretty much local crimes. Again, just more side content. It's good for loot, good for XP, so on and so forth. You'll see these here. So that's Regina's location. If you see that little handshake, that'll be the fixer for the district. So she's in Watson. Then, next up, and pretty much most importantly, you have your Cyberware. As you can see here, there's 2 meters on each side. This one is your Cyberware capacity. It's essentially how much Cyberware you can have equipped at one time. So, for example, my max is 224, and I have 212. There are perks in the skill tree that allow you to increase the amount of Cyberware you have, i.e. licensed to Chrome and Edge Runner. Yeah, pretty nifty. And attached to your Cyberware is armor, pretty much. It's essentially just how much damage you can take, how much damage is negated. Having high armor can reduce the damage you take by 45% more. So specifically, if you wanted numbers, yeah. Essentially, the amount of Cyberware you have correlates to the amount of armor. There are different Cyberware for different parts of your character. So obviously there's leg ones, your circulatory system ones, hands. It's in-depth system. Yeah. I didn't really structure this very well, to be honest. yeah, different cyberware can kind of coincide with other cyberware and builds and weapons and stuff like that. Speaking of builds, I think there's two determining factors. This is just my opinion, but it's kind of how just the game is based. There are two main cyberware that are actually important, quote unquote. Not to say that the other ones aren't. Like, these are all important, but the most important ones are going to be your ARM cyberware and your operating system. More importantly, the operating system. So there are three different types of operating systems. You have the Sandevistan, which, if you guys watch Edge Runners, you know what that does. Pretty much slows down time temporarily, and each Sandevistan has a different effect or boost. They each slow down time by a different percentage under different conditions. Yeah, so Sandevistan essentially just slows down time. Then probably the strongest in the game, non-debatably, is the Cyberdeck. I don't run a Cyberdeck, so I have the baby one in my inventory. Essentially, you equip quick hacks with it. You activate quick hacks. It depends on how much RAM you have. That'll determine how many quick hacks you can activate at once. Yeah. The third is called Berserk. Nobody really uses Berserk, not that I know of. I've never seen someone ecstatic to use a Berserk build. Essentially, what that does is it pretty much amps all of your physical stats, like your defense, your attack, for a temporary amount of time. Yeah. It's really not all that great. It's not necessarily super coherent with other builds, unless you're using like Gorilla Arms, but even then, Sandevistan Gorilla Arms is probably better, because you get the time slowing effect. And then the second most important one is going to be your arms. There's 4 different arm cyberware. You have monowire, you have the projectile launch system, you have the mantis blades, which I have, and then there's what is the other one? Gorilla Arms, duh. So there's those 4. It kind of determines how the combat flows. Again, with builds, it's pretty much your own discretion, but I think those 2 are most dependent on how you play. If you're running a cyber deck, you're 95% of the time going to want to run a monowire, because monowire gets power amps depending on your cyber deck and the quick hacks you have and stuff like that. Whereas the blades, the launch system, and the Gorilla Arms, those are more dependent on how you go about your skill tree. So if you wanted to like have completely insane Gorilla Arms build, you'd probably invest into body. If you wanted to run the Mantis blades, you'd probably invest into reflexes or cool, because those are more like blade related. And then the projectile launch system, I think you could also run it with body. I'm not sure which skill tree works best with the launch system. I think it's kind of its own thing. It's just like a minigun in your arm. As for the skill tree itself, it's kind of segmented by like every 5 levels. So right here, you'll have to get to level 9 to unlock this tier, and then you'll get to level 15 to unlock this tier, and then you'll get to level 20 to unlock these top ones, which obviously get progressively stronger as you go along through the game. These kind of are the foundation for your build. Like, if you're going to go cyberware heavy, you'll probably want to go with the technical ability. That's what I did. It's the first thing I maxed out, because I want more cyberware. But yeah, otherwise, you have your different types of weapons, which are important to combat, obviously. But realistically, if you're not playing through cyberware mostly, then you're kind of missing out on the entire point of Cyberpunk, but that's besides the point. There are 3 different weapon types. You have tech weapons, which essentially tech weapons, you charge them up and they fire. They build up more power over time, depending, like, different tech weapons have different percentages, and different skills affect the percentages and then the amount of damage they do. But essentially, in short, tech pistols, tech weapons in general, you charge them up. Like, it'll take a couple seconds to charge up, and then it'll shoot a big burst that does more damage than if you had just shot it regularly. But you can use them regularly, they just do a lot less damage. They're essentially a coughing baby with 0 charge, and then you get the hydrogen bomb with full charge. Then you have power weapons, which are pretty straightforward. You just shoot them, done deal, that's it. Personally, my favorite are power weapons. I'm running the tech weapon build because of me having to run technical ability. So yeah. Third type of weapon is smart weapon. Those are my least favorite. It's tied to the intelligence tree, but pretty much they auto lock onto enemies. So like you can mag up an enemy and all of those bullets, so long as the enemy is within the proper area of your crosshair, all of those bullets will target and hit that enemy. Not bad. I don't think any of the weapon types are particularly bad, but as long as you have the correct build for them, they'll be even stronger. I think power weapons are the easiest to use though. Just straight up, pull the gun out, shoot. No charging, no, aiming the crosshair in a particular way. Just pick it up and shoot. But yeah, those are the three primary differences. That was something that I was super confused about when I first started. There are different rarities of every item in the game, so they changed it to a tier system. So basically you have white weapons, which are your common or tier 1. You have green weapons, which are tier 2. You have blue weapons, which are tier 3. Purple weapons, tier 4. And then tier 5 are your like orangish, goldish looking weapons. Let me see if I can show a little example here. Yeah, so essentially it's going to have that color to it. So tier 5 is the strongest, obviously. You can upgrade your different weapons and whatnot by using item components. So pretty much each weapon rarity is tied to that type of item component. So for example, as you can see, if I wanted to upgrade my shotgun, for example, I would use purple item components because it's a purple shotgun in the sense that it's tier 4. Each tier has 2 levels to it. There's, base tier and there's tier plus. And then after tier plus, you reach the next rarity. Or tier, I guess, not rarity as much. So if I upgrade my shotgun, we can make it legendary. Let me see here. What do I want to upgrade? I think we can do this katana, just to show you guys. So like, it's a base tier 2. I'll upgrade. Gets to tier 2 plus, and then I'll use... Oh wait, I guess to upgrade you need the next level. I lied. So there we go, now it's tier 3. It's pretty much that simple. In 1.6, you had to go through a whole bunch of, 1.6 and prior, you had to go through a whole bunch of loopholes and unlock certain skills in the tree to, craft properly. It was like Edge Runner Artisan. It was a really complicated, not fun system. So this streamlines it exponentially. You just do it right from your inventory right there. You can kind of do the same thing with Cyberware. When you go to a ripperdoc and you have the appropriate materials, you can upgrade your Cyberware. So instead of like dropping bands and bands of eddies to get the newest rarity, you can just outright upgrade the Cyberware. I'll show you guys. Let me see here. Where am I? What street am I at? So these little things here are fast travel points. People didn't really know that was a thing in this game, which is surprising. But it's cool because going through Night City, like even just driving or walking, there's a whole bunch of, occasionally there's like random events, like a gang fight will break out or NCPD gets into a firefight with some random goofy goober. And you can step in and help, and if they're feeling aggressive enough, they'll start attacking you. Both sides. I mean, NCPD will run your fade if you get too close to them, or if you look at them funny. So we'll go visit a ripperdoc. Okay, that's cool, thank you. Wasn't. Wow. Alright, screw me. Alright, cool, thanks. Tell me I can't run in the middle of the road without getting hit by a car? This was not very well prepared. I'm sorry. There are much better, more cohesive guides on like introductions to the game, but I'm just trying to do this specifically for a friend who I'm trying to get into the game. So they'll watch back to this and be like, wow, cringe. I'm gonna go to Vic's clinic. So I kind of do this like cringe in a, I wouldn't really say role play thing as much as it's just kind of a preference, where I only go to one specific ripperdoc, and that's Vic. There he is. So with fast travel, you'll just choose a particular point on the map and it takes you there. You do have to visit the area first. I don't know what the specific like meter or range is when you unlock them, but if you pretty much just drive through the streets, you'll eventually unlock them. Even as you do side quests or main story content, you'll find it eventually. Where did I just go? What in the world? Why did it take me over here? That was weird. It's never taken me this weird way before. Oh. That's stupid. Really? Really, little bro? Not cool. Hold on. Where's the cat? The cat's gone? Where's the cat?
Hello?
There was a cat here. I wanted to pet the cat. Alright, fine. GG. Guess little bro's gone. I didn't know he was chill like that.
I was thinking about swapping some chrome. You got any new toys?
Have a look.
Okay, and something I should have probably pointed out way earlier is you probably realize that certain items have that like goldish hue to them. So I'll show you guys. There are two different items here. You have this, which is the Aurora Avis. I'm pretty sure that's like Greek or something. I don't know. And then the Parabellum, which are two different Cyberware, but they're technically the same. Just buffed versions of the base model. A lot of my weapons are like that, as you'll see. So I have like the Widowmaker, which is just a base model of, I forget the rifle's name, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, so iconics are just stronger versions of the base weapons. So like, for example, the Liberty gun over here. You can pick it up in Sabora's penthouse when you and Jackie are doing quest stuff. I'm not going to say anything. But it's called the Congo. Congo, I'm probably mispronouncing that insanely absurdly, but yeah. So the Liberty is just a stronger version, or the Congo is just a stronger version of the base Liberty. So that's really the only difference with iconic weapons. There's only one of each, though. So, like, for example, with Lizzie, there's no, like, 2 copies of Lizzie around the map. It's just that one gun. So if you sell it to someone and it despawns, you're cooked. If you do happen to miss an iconic weapon throughout the story, because you can get them at certain points, there's a merchant in Phantom Liberty's DLC in Dogtown. You can go to that merchant, and he sells all the iconic weapons, which is how I got, like, 3 of these. That of which being Order and Apparition, which Apparition is hot garbage. I didn't look at the effect, but yeah. They do have just added effects, and they're a little stronger. That's really it. Yeah, it's nifty. This one here is Rebecca's shotgun. Yeah, fest over. So going back to Cyberware. I'll show you guys. Oh, wow. Holy moly. Is that iconic? Why is that iconic? The Falcon Dance... Hold on a minute. Wait. I just hit level 30, so all of this is new to me. But yeah, this is essentially Berserk. When active, you get damage reduction. You can only use melee weapons. Like I said, it's really only good for gorilla arms or like baseball bats and stuff. Like, if you're going insane, you know, body build, then it's decent. But it's just so restrictive, it's not really worth running, in my opinion. But no harm in trying it out. Yeah, so I don't really want to upgrade that. Let me see. We'll do our leg Cyberware. There's really no huge difference between these, especially if you're using reinforced tendons. It's quite literally just a double jump. Every Cyberware does have 3 additional effects. That actually might be because I have License to Chrome or Edge Runner. But there's a specific perk that allows you to re-roll your stats or your abilities on it. So if I wanted to upgrade this, I could just do that. And it prompts me with these different levels. I think we're going to keep this one. Yeah. So there. It's literally the same exact thing as items. Can I upgrade? Yeah, we're just going to rock with this. This is pretty much a decent roll as is. So, yeah. You could just rank them up instead of dropping however many eddies it would have taken. Yeah, like 40k eddies is astounding when I could just use some components and, you know, a couple thousand eds. But yeah. Let me look at my notes here. Vehicles are a pretty big part of the game. They were upgraded in 2.0 plus, where they can have like weapons and you can attack from them. Yeah, I think there are cars in the game that have weapons attached and that automatically like lock on the enemies. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. But yeah, there's just cars, and then there's bikes, and then there's like armored vehicles with the guns on them and stuff like that. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can buy different cars at different points in the game from different fixers. So like occasionally they'll text you like, "Hey, Choom, here's this car. Only 3 owners ever, and they all died in the back seat, so keep that in mind." You know, huge Eddie discount. It's yeah, you'll find it. But yeah, let me see. Let me double check the notes. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, all of these add additional effects. It's pretty self-explanatory, just read through. It's like with cool, you get additional crit damage per attribute point, so the higher the level, the more substantial the bonus is on each one. So tech ability, I get 2 armor per attribute point, so I'm getting an additional 40 armor just off of my technical ability alone. Having higher reflexes gives you a higher crit chance. Higher body gives you more health. Intelligence gives you RAM, which again, that's only really relevant to the cyber deck build. This here is the relic tree. You get this through Phantom Liberty. It's pretty busted, so that's cool. Only really relevant if you go through Phantom Liberty, but if you are new to the game and you want to get Phantom Liberty, I highly recommend it. I probably am like an hour and a half to 2 hours into it, and it's phenomenal. Better than the main story, in my opinion. Astoundingly so. But yeah, so there's this one. This is called Jailbreak, and it pretty much powers any of your 4-arm cyberware. Again, I'm using the Mantis Blades, so it pretty much just gives me an insane leap. It gives me a massive chance to dismember enemies. So it's pretty much like an instant kill. Limiter removal with gorilla arms. So yeah, different ability for each. It gives you pretty much a critical area, like it highlights whatever area could net you crit damage. This here works with optical camo, pretty much just turns you invisible and allows you to escape. Depends on playstyle. But yeah. You do get a total of 60 points for your attributes, so you can pretty much get 3 of them to level 20. Or however you wanted to spread that out. But yeah, you get an additional 60 on top of the, like, I don't know, I think it's like 10 you get at the start of the game, I don't remember. But yeah. There are cyberware capacity shards around the map, but they really don't give you a substantial boost. It's probably like 2 to 8 points tops for each capacity shard you get, so that's really not a reliable way to increase capacity. The engineering tree gives you additional cyberware capacity for every few levels. So yeah, you only get a couple of those though, so you get an additional like 15 capacity. And all of these are correspondent to each thing. So like Netrunner is tied to intelligence, Shinobi is tied to cool, Solo is tied to body, Engineer is tied to technical ability, and Headhunter is reflexes, I think. I think it's reflexes. But yeah, that's essentially it. Clothing doesn't necessarily matter anymore. In 1.6, clothing had an armor attribute attached to it. It no longer has that. It's just cosmetic purely, which is nice, but I feel bad for the chooms that want to run like a no cyberware build. They don't really have that option without becoming pretty much a glass cannon, if a cannon at all. But yeah, my V do be dripped out though. I got to admit. Yeah, I might have to cop that new Sandevistan. We're gonna call it there though. I'm gonna restart the stream and play some Cyberpunk. I think. I don't know. I might do something else. We'll see. But yeah, this is really sloppy. I thought it would be a lot more structured. It was not. I wrote out a script for it. It didn't work out as well as I planned. If you guys have any comments or questions or anything like that, I know I seem like a freaking actual gonk, like stupid brain, doesn't know anything about the game, but that is not true. I'm just not elaborate when it comes to actually explaining things. It's like, why make the video then? Well, yeah, I'm opening the door for conversation. I'm just giving you guys the basic rundown. But yeah, I think when you're first coming into the game, you think about the life paths and stuff, and that's where people are like, I don't know what to choose. What do I choose? And it's like, it really doesn't matter. You'll get quirky, witty comments. That's pretty much it. You'll get the individual quests. Beyond that, life paths don't matter. Your build, depending on how you want to play the game and what you're focusing on, big three things to consider is your cyberware, your weapons, and your skill trees. Just try to juggle all of those, have those tie into each other for like the most optimal build. Alternatively, you could be all over the place, because after a certain point in the game, you just get strong enough to where it doesn't really matter. You can pretty much just kill anything regardless of your build. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, in spite of how stupid I seem, feel free to ask. I won't miss it. Any questions at all, if you have questions regarding certain quests, I have 100% of the game in 1.6, so again, the gameplay itself and the missions aren't too much different. I hit the mic, sorry. With the exception of Phantom Liberty. I haven't completed Phantom Liberty yet, baby's first playthrough. But yeah, if you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to ask. I want more people to play this game because I think it's really good. Probably one of my top 5 games of all time. You're like, you just don't play enough games then, but Cyberpunk is good, to be completely honest. I understand, first and foremost, it's like an FPS, but realistically, what other games do you have where you can slow down time and do all this nonsense? Not many, is the answer. But yeah, feel free to ask questions. Oh yeah, I guess real quick. One change from 1.6 to 2.0 is these. This is something I hadn't realized, but you get 2 healing items and you get 2 grenades. They have whatever recharge time, depends on different skills. You can speed it up. Otherwise, I think it's like 30 seconds per thing, each charge of each item. But yeah, you used to be able to hoard these in mass, and I'd have like 800 max docs that I'd just sit there and huff from, like be vaping mid-fight. But now you have to actually be cognizant of how you spend your items. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Seriously. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Don't get ran over by any Night City drivers.